And welcome back. Minorities, and particularly women of color, are traditionally underrepresented in STEM fields. Digital Girl Inc. is a not-for-profit organization that's committed to reversing this trend. Now, the organization's mission is to empower inner-city youth, especially young girls, to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. They're motivated by the nation's overall struggle to produce an adequate number of STEM professionals and the underrepresentation of women and people of color. Joining us now to share a little bit more about the details of the program is the founder and executive director of Digital Girl Inc., Michelle Gall. And Michelle, good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me again. Good to see you.
Good to see you. And when we talk about STEM, obviously we know that a lot of times we are in communities of color, as I said in the lead, the last to really embrace it. I know you're trying to, build a bridge there and try to do some different things. Talk to us about the work of Digital Girl.
Absolutely. So, really our mission, as you said, is to inspire and to expose the people in our community, particularly young women, people of color, to understand that we really need to do more than just consume technology. We really need to become the producers of technology. So our goal is to demystify what STEM is, because a lot of times we really don't know. We hear STEM, we think scientists, we think robotics. There's so many different fields within the STEM arena that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be great at math. It doesn't mean that you have to, love math. There's so many different professions, and that's what we want to open the door and set the foundation for. And then the other thing that we find is that once people understand exactly what computer science is, what exactly, the math entails, they actually find out it's not as hard as they think, and it can be a lot of fun. So we go into schools, we partner with community-based organizations in schools to supplement their curriculum, bring in computer science, programming, coding, some little bit of robotics. And then we tie in the other fields that we know that they are getting in school, like science, like math. But what they're not getting is that technology piece and that engineering piece, unless it's a specialized school.
Yeah. And so you have the opportunity to really do something special. You've got something called the Dgi Virtual Hangout. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So like the rest of the world, we were thrown into this whirlwind in March, right? When, all of New York City shut down, the schools were shut down, jobs were shut down, everyone had to work from home. And we really wanted to make sure we were there to support our community. We really wanted to give the children a sense of normalcy. We also wanted to give parents an outlet, because if you're working from home and class is over at 3:00, what are you doing with the rest of the hours that your kids are in the house, right? So we switch all our programming online, virtually. Everything is free. Our program is never charged. There's no cost to our participants. We try to get support from anywhere. We take donations, contributions, but we don't want costs to be a barrier for our students to be a part of the program. So we just went online and we just started offering programming 5-6 days a week. The virtual hangout is still up, it's still running, and we're still offering our programming online.
And so for people who want to get connected to your digital virtual hangout, how do they do that?
They can just go to our website, digitalgirlinc.org, and click on that menu bar, and you're going to see DGI Virtual Hangout, and just click on it, and you're right there. That's the easiest way to access us.
Yeah. And also for young people, obviously seeing them involved in coding. I know that you really want to spend a lot of time cultivating that STEM, that's those STEM categories, and coding is huge. Talk to us about how you're getting the young ladies involved in coding, which is something that sometimes we're not the first ones that want to say, I want to do this.
Right. Well, when you say coding, we go into the classroom, and the first thing we do is we take a survey. We want to know how much exposure, how much information the students have about coding already. So we'll ask, what is coding? You know what coding is? They're like, yeah. And we say, what's coding? They're like, hacking, So we're like, well, let's clean this up a little bit. So we really, well, I think what our secret is that we use hands-on projects. I wish our director of programming, Tony Robinson, was on the call with us. She really is really great at picking out projects that students can make and actually feel like it's a tangible thing that they can leave with. So it's not the same as if you're just sitting there and you're typing away and the teacher's telling you, put this here, put this here. We're saying, hey, we're gonna build an app today. This is how this is coding. This is what it looks like. We're gonna code an app, or we're going to make a game. We're gonna create a virtual storyboard. We're gonna create a website. We're gonna create a tipping calculator. There are all these things that we give the students an opportunity to jump in and have fun, to create and be able to leave with something that they can share with their family and friends, and then expose them to and say, hey, this is this thing that I created, and this is what coding is like.
And so as I think about coding, I think about how you just said it right there. People say, coding is hacking, right? That's their perception. But give us a little bit of the backside of it. After they learn that coding isn't hacking, after they learn that, listen, there's a whole lot more to this. What's the reaction of young people who participate, who may not be so familiar in the beginning, but then have an opportunity to go through the program?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, you see, and that's another one of our goals, is to increase confidence in wanting to be a part of the conversation. So all of a sudden now we see these kids that were totally shy, didn't think that they could do it, go to being really confident and saying, well, I know that we built this, but I want to do this next. We see children changing majors. We have our high school students who sometimes you get to actually pick that major, and they're saying, hey, this is what I want to do now. Or a college student that just graduated from high school. We have had parents and students text us, email, call us and say, hey, I was going to school for this, but now I'm going to go to school for this because you guys gave me the confidence to do that. It's really, really inspiring, because sometimes nonprofit world is hard. And so we'll have those days sometimes where we're like, I'm like, why am I doing this again? I'm like literally banging my head and like, this is what you wanted. And then we'll get that phone call, or I'll look with my t-shirt on and a parent will say, hey, you're from Digital Girl Inc. My daughter goes to your program, and she loves it. She just changed her major. So those are the things that keep us going.
Yeah. Well, what do we have coming up in the future before we wrap up? Tell us, like, what are some of the things you got coming up in the near future?
Oh, actually, I'm so happy you asked. Digital Girl Inc. will be opening the first of its kind STEM lab in the Bedford Union Armory, which is located in Brooklyn. It's on Bedford and Union. And, we'll be offering our services now 24, well, not 24/7, but we'll be open on a daily basis for students to actually come in, because right now what we do is we bring our programming to places. So now for the first time, people can actually visit us. We're going to have 3D printing, we'll have computers, we'll have robotics, we're going to have everything is going to be amazing. So we're looking forward to that opening sometime this spring, late spring.
We look forward to seeing what happens in the late spring. Obviously, while we're all virtual, this is actually a little bit advantageous for you because obviously we're in the digital virtual age. So has it really been, and I'll ask the question, has it really been burdensome for you trying to make that whole shift, given the fact that we're COVID and we're now virtual?
People think it's easier. It's actually a little harder, pulling everything together virtually, having people working in separate spaces. It's a little bit harder to get it up and running, and just a little bit harder to manage it. But once it was up and running, it's really awesome. We're really thankful. We talk to our staff. A lot of our staff have family and friends who have lost their employment. We have not had to do that because we're still able to offer our programming and switch everything virtually. And that's the future. That's what we've been trying to get through to our kids and get through to our interns. And so it was great for us to actually have this real life situation happening to say, hey, this is the benefit of working in a digital realm, because you can do everything remotely.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us on great work that's going on with Digital Girl. And hopefully you'll be able to continue empowering and engaging some more of our young people to take it on to another level.
Thank you so much for having me.
Michelle Gall, our guest here on Open. Now, listen, for more information, you can visit their website at digitalgirlinc.org. Also, you can follow them on Instagram and Twitter at Digital Girl Inc. We've got more show. Stay with us. Open will return with yours truly right after this.